Hello everyone. So Stephen, my partner's made a door for our compost toilet for the campsite because the old one had completely disintegrated and fallen apart, as it was actually an internal wooden door that we treated and put on the door. It's as an outside door, and even though we treated it, it didn't stand the weather conditions here in Cornwall, so he's built a new one. While he's getting ready to fit the door, I wanted to show you a little bit around the farm and what we've been doing. So the track had got really rutted, and over the winter there's huge holes and huge puddles everywhere, and I was just getting muddy feet all the time and wet socks, and I'd really had enough of that. So I got 3 tons of stone chippings delivered, and I put them halfway down the track and then barrowed up and down the track all day long to fill it and pack it into all the holes. So here are some of the ruts that were in the track that I have filled. They were quite big and deep, and I've just packed all this stone in, and again it's just evened it all up and made a better surface to drive on. So you can see the size of these ruts. So that was a big job. I don't have the best of cameras here, and yeah, it's just all wild woodland really. This is Buddleia, which again is a weed. It's a Japanese plant that sort of seeds around, but it looks quite pretty with its purple flowers. And another plant that really thrives down here in Cornwall in the acid soils, the rich soils, is the rhododendron. And again, we trim this back every year. I've got another one up here, and as you can see, I mean, there's still huge amounts of bramble and areas that I haven't done so well, trimming. And down here we are. This is a little bit of the edges. It's hard to really pick it up on the film. It's rather lovely. These are all wild strawberries here. Tiny little mini wild strawberries that grow natively in England and the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Yeah, and they've spread now to the other side of the track as well, which they weren't there before. So as we've slowly trimmed along these edges, we've got more and more diversity as we've pulled back the bramble from the edges. So here, in this section, again, this was just thick bramble, really high. And there's still a lot of bramble here, but we still do. I have trimmed this back on various years and uncovered the ferns here. It's a beauty, this one. And on this side, we have this wonderful rhododendron that again has been trimmed extensively to stop it growing over the track, but I mean, it's absolutely blooming gorgeous this year. In its prime, looks fabulous, so nice, how lovely. I'm here on my trackway and it's late May now, and the only thing we do along here at this time of year is trim back branches from the road, because otherwise they all, when it rains, they all tower over and it makes like a tunnel. But it's difficult for things to get through, so we have to maintain the track during the summertime so we can still drive up and down. But it looks absolutely beautiful. I can't explain how lovely it looks at this time of year. It does take a lot of work. We have to keep trimming it back. Now, when I first came to this farm 8 years ago, it was just bramble all the way up this track, and you really couldn't even drive in here. I had to have it fixed. But yeah, the sedge up the middle was so high that you couldn't actually drive along here. And it's been every year, you know. I mean, I haven't had to do so much work this year along here, thankfully, because we've worked really hard for the past 8 years, every single spring, chopping back the edges. And as we've chopped back, we've managed to have more and more flowers appear, more ferns, more flowers, and it's absolutely stunning now. It's so beautiful. The other thing that we had to do was to put in a new gate post, because this one, the original one here, had fallen over, had completely rotted out, and we had patched it up for a few years. Stuck a bit of foam on the inside because it rotted from the inside out. But now we have a nice new gate post, and we've put a new gate on the front of the farm. So we have this here as well. This is for gate sales, and I purchased this recently, so I can sell preserves here and eggs when I get some more laying hens. People will have to come in the gate to buy them. I do have an egg box out at the front of the gate onto the road, but it's a long way away from our living accommodation, and people were abusing that because it's in a remote location. So I've brought this and put it inside the gate, so people will have to come in. So I'm going to have a lot of signs on the gate encouraging people to drive in. And of course, now we fixed the track, it's a nice flat drive to come in and purchase from this box. Also, I've got these lovely planters here. So let's have a look at these. And got some little gazania, some petunias. This is a lobelia. We've got some thyme and a bit of oregano somewhere here. Here's the oregano. And there's two of these. And I think they look quite nice at the front. They've only just been planted, so you know they've got to get going. If I walk over here, I've managed to get this huge pot out of the garden. This big pot here was in my garden for ages, and I was just putting like old bits of grass and stuff in there. And basically it's seeded itself with peppermint, so I've put it here on the front so that it's nearer to the static caravan, where I have a little a kitchen area that I use, and so that, you know, it's easy to come pick here for peppermint tea from this rather than having to walk all the way to the garden for a cup of tea. Doesn't quite fit in the car. So Steve forgot the hinges for the door, so I'm just going to drive back down the land and go and get them. And the reason I'm driving rather than walking is that I have twisted my ankle really badly. It's beginning to mend now, but I've slightly put myself out of action at the moment, and I'm sticking to light work. So Steve doesn't want to be filmed and doesn't want to be on the vlog, so you might see a little bit of his arms or back, but that's all. This is the door. It's now in place. Doing a bit of poo picking here. Got to pick up all of this because this area is going to be the car park. So it's now late spring and I've managed to recover 3 beds here, and I've got a few things planted. So the first thing I seeded of the season was some salad turnip, and they got pecked out almost instantly, so I've got some more to go in, but I've run out of caging, so I don't quite know what I'm going to do. Got to find something that I can cage them in with so that the birds don't peck them. And here I've got some more caging and some more salad in the ground. Again, I seem to be having trouble keeping hold of the red salad this year, which normally is the one that the birds leave alone, so I don't know what's pecking that out. I mean, I've got red salad. Oh, hello, Starsky. Look, there's Starsky. Hello, sweetie. Hey, beautiful boy. Yeah. Come to say hello. So I've got these red salads in here, but again they look like they've all been quite pecked out. I mean, this had actually moved, so what moved that and pulled them out I don't know, but I'm having a lot of trouble keeping these. I've got one left now. This whole area is bare, so this is, you know, what's been pulled out. So I just going to keep seeding, really, keep planting, and eventually I'll have a good amount of lettuce. But at least I've managed to hang on to these. All seems to be quite slow to get going. So here I have my potato patch, and all the potatoes are sprouting. There's also millions of dock leaves seeds sprouting over here, so I need to get in and hoe them out as fast as possible, otherwise it's going to be a mammoth dock leaf and stinging nettle patch again, which is pretty much what it was. Which is why I covered it all over with plastic for a year, to kill that all off. But anyway, so we've got a lot of 2-year well rotted manure, horse manure compost on top of this bed, and yeah, this was the first potato to pop up, and that's a lot more developed, and the others are all popping up behind. This corner I have a courgette which has gone absolutely, it's grown twice as big in the last few days. It's grown up out of its little hat, so fingers crossed that keeps growing and gives us some nice courgettes. So all of these beds have all become grown over. It's just gone back to pasture again, really. They weren't very deep. We're on, there's a lot of gravel, bedrock under here. I mean, you can see the size of the rocks on this section, this potato bed. I've pulled out all of this rock here, and the reason there's a big hole here is because there's this huge rock here, which I'm going to need the big pick to pick that out. get that rock out, and that rock could be quite useful in the garden or as a rockery ornament somewhere. My mint plant here has doubled in size, and I've had to dig it out here and make a path round and put this plastic here to stop it spreading this way. I don't want it to spread this way. Yeah, the smell of this peppermint is absolutely divine. So this is another bed I'm in the process of recovering, but it's got neglected due to the fact that I've sprained my ankle. And over here, of course, all the chives are in flower, which look beautiful. Got the sage bush spreading out, purple sage, lovely. And yeah, a lot more chives. The little spring bells I've nearly finished, and they're all going to seed now. I've managed to mow the garden over in this corner. Got a little wild bit with some sweet little blue flowers that we get around here. And over here is a wild garlic that's spreading down the bank. And again, it's gone to seed now. The flowers are gone. But I planted that there. I pulled up, managed to get some with some roots in a big wild patch near here. I just took one bit of plant with some root and popped it in the ground there. And it's taken a couple of years to get established, but it's definitely still there, which is great. Hello, Selene Beanie. You little bean. That's my little pet. Yes. And Starsky's her son. So this lovely shrub behind me is coming into flower now, and it's got, again, it's just so pretty. It's just beginning to open up now, and it's got these little white centres that just will become more developed as it opens. The hedge has absolutely tripled in size, and I think I could really do with giving it a good old cut back this year, to be honest. It's massive. Look how high it is now. Really big. So I'm back in my shed, and I wanted to show you what I've got seed-wise at the moment. Not a lot here, to be honest. There's some lettuce here that I'm bringing on, and I'm going to leave for a while till they're a bit bigger, so I'll let them carry on in pots. We've got corn, eating corn here. I've got a few flowers, another gazania I've got to find somewhere to put. And these are, got a blueberry and a raspberry that I need to find somewhere. And up here I have some basil coming on. Here, this was a bit of an experiment. It's these are leeks, which I've taken from seed, but I'm not really sure. They haven't actually done anything, and a lot of these have failed as well. I've got some cucumbers that haven't done anything. And I've got various squash here. These are winter squash, Crown Prince, Amber Max. They haven't done anything, so I don't know whether they are going to now. I'm going to keep trying for a bit longer, but it's old seed, so we'll have to see. So this is the rest of my plants that I've still got in pots. And I have cabbage, some cabbage here, I have some rainbow chard, I have lots of summer squash that are doing really well. This is all new seed, so they've all done well. I have some salad turnip, so this is my second round of these because the first lot all got eaten. More cabbage. Some spring onions, and we have pot marigolds, some thyme to go in the garden, parsley. Now I put some of this in the garden. Again, I bought this in pots, but it didn't flourish in the garden, just got eaten instantly. So I'm keeping this one for culinary use. And I have another squash here, and this is a courgette. So yeah, I really need to get busy really and get these out in the garden.